With some Republicans raising concerns about President Trump's big, beautiful bill, will it have trouble passing the Senate? Keeping in mind that any changes made would have to be re-voted on by the House. Let's break it down further. Our friend tonight, Republican strategist Amanda Makki, is back up late with me tonight here in studio on the Final Five. Great to see you again.
Good to see you. Okay. Glad to be home.
Yeah, we're glad to have you back. Well, I reached out to you last week, and we were going to have you on remotely, and you said, I'm going to be back in Maryland.
Exactly.
Done. And plus, it's always good to talk with you off camera, too.
Thank you.
But let's talk about this. Right now, it passed the House. It got the votes needed. It looks like there will be some incremental changes here. Do you see any problems with this bill passing the Senate?
I see a lot of problems. Elon Musk inserting himself in this debate in such a bombastic way and really being very vocal about this bill is problematic. This is someone whose PAC spent $20 million last year to get members elected and to obviously get the president elected. Members of Congress are going to be very scared of his rhetoric, what he said, and what that might mean for their future fight. Members of Congress up every 2 years. That's a scary proposition, what he has said.
And this is one of those rare times in American history where you have an easier margin in the Senate than you do the House. You can lose 3 votes here in the Senate. J.D. Vance may have to come in and cast a vote as vice president, but we already have Rand Paul come out. And the thing is, Rand Paul, I know the White House is going after Rand Paul in this. Rand Paul is at least consistent with his messaging sometimes.
He reminds me of Senator Tom Coburn of Oklahoma.
The late, great Tom Coburn.
The late, great Dr. No.
Yeah.
And so when I worked in the Senate, it was just natural. We knew he would oppose anything with further spending. And that's where Rand Paul has carved out that niche for himself. He is consistent. And the president has said that he doesn't, kind of know what he's talking about. The bottom line is that there are going to be a lot of members on the Senate side. And I would say that basically what happened this afternoon with Elon Musk's tweet completely changes the dynamics of passage of this bill. I think it changes it that much and reverses course with all the progress that was made. And certainly Speaker Johnson has said, we're going to work things out. But I think this is very problematic for members of the United States Senate.
What's in it that you like? What have you seen that you like? Because clearly there are the Medicaid changes have been a hot button issue, and there are things like all piece of legislation. I even talked with Democratic members of Congress, said, yeah, it's a big piece of legislation. There are things in it that we do like, but we're not going to vote for the whole thing.
Well, I think the biggest thing is that the Medicaid cuts were just, it was a lot of a lot of talk about that because it does change based on what Obamacare did 10 years ago, now more than 10 years ago. But the bottom line is that you want to see guardrails. You want to see that this remains mothers, children, pregnant women, not men, able-bodied who don't go to work. And I think that's where we are in the American body politic. This is a good issue for both sides. They want to see a paring down of tax dollars. And I think that was a good thing. It's interesting because you hear Mike Johnson, Speaker Johnson, say, well, there wasn't EV, benefits for Elon Musk. That's why he didn't like it. I think it's a broader issue of, yes, we have tax cuts, but we have to pair it with reduced government spending. And that's always been something people have talked about. I think one thing we know about President Trump is he's a doer.
Yeah. As we move ahead here, and again, there's going to be a lot of talk and a lot of back and forth here. Even today, Marjorie Taylor Greene had said there were things in there that she didn't catch on the first reading, voted for it. I think she was referring to AI guide rails in states, preventing them from passing laws about AI, which another story for another day. However, July 4th at this point suddenly seems like a much more daunting deadline here.
I think so. Look, the Senate is a very different body than the House, and members of the United States Senate are going to fine-tooth comb this. And now that Elon Musk has really elevated this issue, I think it changes everything because now they're going to start hearing from constituents. They're here for the next 3 weeks. They're going to hear about it. Then they're going to go home July 4th recess. If this doesn't pass, they're going to get an earful on this. And that's where it becomes problematic for members of Congress, especially the United States Senate. Now that you have Marjorie Taylor Greene saying, well, maybe I didn't see this. You're going to have other members. The fallout will be enormous. So really what happened today, and I think that's where you saw President Trump demand of Congress the DOGE cuts to satiate what Elon Musk is upset about. And yes, the DOGE cuts were very important. They were critical to getting President Trump elected, in my opinion. So that's something that he's hammering now with the members of Congress and members of the Senate.
So we're just about out of time. Elon Musk's role in this campaign, in the early days of this administration, what do you think history says about his role? Because it certainly was unprecedented.
It was. But I think really where you saw his level of engagement really increased to the levels that we saw where he was shadowing the president was after the president was shot in Butler, Pennsylvania last July. So I think that was just a game-changing moment for Elon Musk in his idea of what is going wrong with this country, that they would want to assassinate someone who is running for office, and he just couldn't see that happen.
And we can't believe that was almost a year ago now.
Almost a year.
Unbelievable.
In a month,
yeah,
it'll be
in just
a year.
about a month. Yeah, Amanda, great to see you again.
Good to
Thanks
see
for coming
you.
in. Welcome back.
Thank you.
And we are back after this on your Final Five.